Right, more than halfway through. We're almost there. We can do this. She's still going on about her accusation about Mr. Snowflake and the fact that, according to her, he's sexually harassing her. She said, yeah, it is a big accusation, but he's a man who's watching me try on clothes and saying that she was showing her butt strictly just for him. Imagine that you're in the workplace and your sweater goes up a little bit and it shows your butt, and someone you work with says, "Ooh, showing your butt just for me," and it's a man or something. Fuck off, Amber. He did not say it like that. You're not in the same vicinity, room, workplace. It was a joke. I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to achieve with this. Your hard-on for Geordie didn't work. Your hard-on for Zachary didn't work. So, it's Mr. Snowflake now? You don't go after female channels, do you? No, you don't go after female channels. Not in the same way. That's interesting. If a man says it has to be sexual. Is that what you think? Is that your opinion? Do you even think before you say things? Are you going to think about this retrospectively? 'Cause you've done fucked up. She says it made her uncomfortable and that she's allowed to be uncomfortable. Well, I have nothing to say to that, because if that's how she felt, that's how she felt. But it made it a very poor joke in poor taste, possibly offensive, but sexual harassment. It gets worse. A commenter just said, if I was alone in a room with Mr. Snowflake, I'd be afraid. And Amber's like, bingo, that's it. Out of any commenter, any reactor there is, out of all the reactors it is, she's allegedly afraid of Mr. Snowflake. Bullshit. You truly are an awful, awful individual. It gets worse. A commenter just said, if I was alone in a room with Mr. Snowflake, I'd be afraid. And Amber's like, bingo, that's it. Out of any commenter, any reactor there is, out of all the reactors it is, she's allegedly afraid of Mr. Snowflake. Bullshit. You truly are an awful, awful individual. She says that Mr. Snowflake's the last reactor she'd ever want to be in a room with, and she says that ever since Mr. Snowflake found out about the whole Dalton thing, he's like, Amberlynn wants to be with me and Dalton, you know, that kind of bullshit. Just because he said Dalton looks a bit like him and a bit like Geordie. Oh, for fuck's sake. She's basically down to the "it makes me uncomfortable and I'm allowed to feel that way" argument, which is actually true. That is an argument, I mean. If she feels uncomfortable, she has every right to feel uncomfortable. I'm of the opinion she's just pissed off. I don't think uncomfortable is how she feels. It's just very convenient that somebody has put the word uncomfortable in her mind, and she's weaponized the word uncomfortable when the word she's actually looking for is pissed off. This is unfortunate. This is unfortunate that she has been given this word by somebody else and has now weaponized it. What a bitch. I'm going to quote this verbatim. Yo mama is a different case. Yo mama, I love yo mama. Yo mama is a different case. Yo mama doesn't hate me. So it's sexual harassment if it comes from a reactor who hates you, but it's not sexual harassment if it comes from somebody you don't dislike. Right. Yo mama isn't out for vengeance. Yo mama isn't out for creepiness, implying that Mr. Snowflake is out for vengeance and out for creepiness. So, Mr. Snowflake hates you, therefore he's sexually harassing you. Yo mama you like him, and he doesn't hate you, therefore the exact same behaviour is not sexual harassment. You can't cherry pick what's sexual harassment and what's not, Amber. Either Yo mama and Mrs. Snowflake are sexually harassing you, and Geordie, because Geordie makes jokes about your figure too, or none of them are. Are you listening to yourself? I mean, the whole yo mama bit at the end has completely invalidated your claim. Completely. Mr. Snowflake makes you uncomfortable because he hates you. Yo mama saying the exact same thing does not, because he doesn't hate you and you like him. Amber's biggest issue, according to what she's just said, or I've ascertained her biggest issue, is that he doesn't believe she was molested when she was 7. She says that Mr. Snowflake's a creep because he didn't believe a 12-year-old girl when she said she was molested when she was 7, and that he called that 12-year-old girl, i.e. Amber, a liar. That 34-year-old woman who's speaking now has also just claimed that somebody has sexually harassed her when he hasn't. So, possibly, going on the evidence we have right now, maybe he has a point. Possibly. I mean, you're not making a very good case for yourself, are you? What's the difference between a stalker and an admirer? The stalker is ugly. It's the same argument. If it comes from somebody you dislike, it's harassment. If it comes from somebody you like, it's just joking. Ooh. people, the men that Amber is targeting, every single one of them has said, without, dancing around the issue or, walking on eggshells, they've all very directly said that you are a paedophile. Now, on a technicality, you don't fall under that bracket because the underage individuals you like are aged between 15 and 19, and so the majority of that age group is legal. So while your targeted demographic is mostly legal, morally it's extremely questionable. And I'd go so far as, out of the 3 men you have such an issue with, who have pointed out your deviances, let's say, only one of them straight, and therefore the sexual harassment thing is slightly conceivable. You can't accuse the other 2. I mean, you're as far as conceivably possible outside their preference that can possibly exist on the whole entire planet. You are a deviant. You like people who are significantly younger than you. And you are failing to address the accusations, and instead you are trying to discredit and ruin the reputation of people who are brave enough to demand an answer from you. You're I am old enough to be your mother, and I would be mortified if you were my child. According to a commenter, that it's weird and creepy that Mr. Snowflake knows so much about Amberlynreid. And doesn't make what he knows untrue, though, does it? Just means he's one of the few individuals who have dedicated their time to expose the truth. Remember, when they first started covering you, they were in your corner. They were cheerleading you. They were in your corner. And it's only after finding out the truth through your own content, the stuff you put online, that they changed their mind. People don't suddenly start hating people for no reason, unless they're narcissists, of course. He didn't call a 12-year-old a liar, Amber. He called an adult woman recounting a story of something she allegedly told her mother at 12 about something that allegedly happened to her at 7. He's calling adult you a liar. You're the one that put it on the fucking internet as an adult. She has manipulated the story so badly. She's saying, verbatim, imagine this massive man with a beard telling a 12-year-old child they're lying. He's not. He's telling adult you, who told the story as an adult, you're lying. 12-year-old you has nothing to do with it. Stop twisting the story. I'm going red. You're disgusting. You're disgusting, amberlynnreid. You really are a foul bottom dweller. Fuck off. Somebody, questioned why did you describe him as a man with a beard? And apparently, men with beards she has an issue with because of bad experiences in the past. I am having a lot of very, very, very uncharitable thoughts at the moment. And I don't like having uncharitable thoughts about anybody. Let's just say I'm not wishing particularly good things on Amber currently. Somebody quite rightly pointed out that Mr. Snowflake wasn't calling 12-year-old Amber a liar, and she said, yes, I was 12 years old when I told my mum what happened, and I was in my 20s when I told the internet. So if he's telling me I'm a liar, he's also telling 12-year-old me I'm a liar. And then she says, use your common sense. Okay, let's just say, for argument's sake, that made sense. According to your logic, he's actually calling 7-year-old you a liar, because it was 7-year-old you that he happened to. That is how your logic would work if your logicked. Even your story just now, where you've told us to use your logic, doesn't use fucking logic. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Somebody kind of pointed out the discrepancies in her story, and she's basically implied that the only reason people defend Mr. Snowflake is because he's so fucking hot and attractive. That's me parodying her, by the way. That's not me making fun of Mr. Snowflake. If it's not motivated by money, it's motivated by lust. That's the view of the world both Amber and Foodie have. They're the only two reasons for doing something, money or lust. There's other stuff in the world There are more things in life than money and sex. I should know. I have neither. She's now having a go at some of the commentators because they're not buying what she's trying to sell. And she's basically saying, you actively choose not to hear me. A narcissist wants to be listened to. They will scream to the void, you're not listening to me, you're not listening to me. This is translated as, you're not believing every single fucking thing I'm saying. Why aren't you believing me? So if a narcissist says, you don't listen to me, what a narcissist is really saying is, you're not believing me. She's crying now and saying, well, somebody said, you know, this story is the most believable story about you because things like this happen to most women. Most women have a story like this, the molestation story to tell. And she goes, it's hard enough, this is Amber, when only one person doesn't believe you. But imagine, and this is almost verbatim, what it feels like when thousands and thousands of people don't believe you because some hot sexy guy in a cardigan says you're a liar. Why the adjectives? Is that necessary? It doesn't make your argument any stronger whatsoever by, implying that the only reason people don't believe what you said is because of who said you were lying, and that the person who is saying you're lying is not unattractive. Speechless. Okay. While we're here, do you know what I believe? What Mr. Snowflake says the majority of the time? When I watch his documentaries, he presented very, very compelling evidence. Evidence, actual evidence, not screenshots. Evidence collected from material you put on the internet. And the other reason I have a tendency to believe Mr. Snowflake over you, it's because of your very obvious psychology, your very obvious narcissism, your very obvious need to be believed regardless of what's right in front of us. You're a you're a pathological liar, and I don't need a gentleman wearing knitwear to tell me that. You're a pathological liar. You're a raging narcissist. And while I'm not entirely sure if you're a sociopath or a psychopath, I'm having my doubts. Maybe it's something I should investigate. And now she's defending herself against everything she said about Casey. This was bound to come up. Absolutely bound to come up. And my opinion, before we go any further, if you watch the video of Amber telling the story, and you watch the video of Amber telling the story of when Gracie went missing the first time, you will see the way both stories are told are incredibly similar, but are very dissimilar to the way Amber tells any other story before or since those two. Those two stories have a very, very, very unusual cadence. The language that's used, the enthusiasm the story is told with, the amount of extra words, superfluous information that was told in those two stories vastly surpasses any other storytelling that Amber has ever done. Now, in terms of the Gracie story, I think it was fabricated to set up the disappearance of Gracie. I believe that with my whole entire heart. But both stories are told in a very particular way, for a very particular reason. And that reason is it was written out first. It was edited, it was perfected, and it was practiced. Both times, the Gracie disappearing but being retrieved immediately, and the Rain and Petals eavesdrop story, original Accusation, were both performed as if performing a script. Amber hasn't done it in any other incidences apart from those two. Both occasions it was a pre-written, rewritten, edited and practiced script. So Amber's going to delete the vlog that was going to go up tomorrow, and is going to take a break. Apparently the vlog was about therapy, and she did a recap. She's no longer doing the ED whatever she was doing. The therapist has allegedly told her after 3 sessions that she should do DBT. Very excited about that. Took a 10-question ACE test that assesses your childhood trauma. Apparently it got 9 out of 10. And a lot of people in the comment section is highly suggesting that Amber should take a test for autism. They say that Amber shows a lot of autistic traits. I beg to differ. You might as well just give her the whole DSM-5 book and let her have at it, to be honest. Anyway, she's really excited about the change of direction in therapy. Whoop whoop. She's now claiming that she's spoken to 2 therapists about the possibility of her being a narcissist, and they both said categorically not, and that every time she's taken an online test for narcissism, categorically not. Well, the thing is, a narcissist would never pass a narcissist test online because they see themselves as better than, and wouldn't answer the questions that basically say that are negative, that imply you're a narcissist. They wouldn't answer them honestly. Online tests are, and narcissists are very devious people that have a very positive opinion of themselves, and if both therapists decided Amber wasn't a narcissist at all, not even remotely, not even indicators, I don't hazard to guess that Amber was probably not being particularly truthful with them, because if ever there was a narcissist who narcissisted, it's that particular individual. She's trying desperately to end the stream. It's 2.5 hours now, and people aren't letting her go. They're just talking about crap now. I mean, I've got to have to go through it just in case something pops up. But I suspect it's half an hour of Amber trying to end the stream desperately, and people not really letting her. So, nothing really to report. Apparently, the reason so many of us say that Amber's a narcissist is because the label narcissist has such a bad rep, and it's just easier to invalidate somebody by saying they're a narcissist. It's absolutely nothing to do with, well, speaking for myself, having an academic background in psychology. Couldn't possibly be that. And it couldn't possibly be that really intensive program I went on about narcissism, which was called My Marriage. Nah, I couldn't identify a narcissist if they stood in front of me and told me how fucking fantastic they were. Seriously. Somebody's just asked if she's still mad, and she said she is still mad, but only at people that invalidate her and say mean things about her when she's having a breakdown. So you can't say anything when her mental health isn't good. So I think we all should shut up forever, if that's the criteria. She's now Googling symptoms of being a narcissist and laughing. You can tell I've had a really good time watching these 3 hours. It's written all over my face, obviously. A lot of the traits, it's not her. Apparently she's definitely not petty, and according to her, she's definitely not exploitative. But she has hinted that Beck might have these traits, and that Alexis might have these traits. So the part where she says she doesn't deflect the blame and try and insinuate other people are at fault for things that she definitely doesn't have. She's definitely not doing this while doing the test. So, not quite as definite as she seems to think. Amber logic is Amber can't be vain about Amber, because if Amber was vain, Amber wouldn't be fat. The things on the list that Amber does admit to being, she's also pointing out, are also very indicative of BPD. So any narcissistic traits are being portrayed as BPD traits instead. And it's very, very obvious Amber doesn't actually understand what's being said on the test she's reading at all. So, yay, it's going really well. Yay, Amber Lynn's not a bully or a mean girl either. Well, we're winding down now. Amber's definitely not a narcissist according to Amber, and the main take from this live according to Amber, is people are allowed to talk shit about her, but she's not allowed to respond. Mr. Snowflake has an entire channel about her, but she can't respond to him about him. His entire channel is not about you, love. He has some playlists. I have some playlists. But his entire channel is not about you. Well, that's it. The Mama popped on in the last 5 minutes. Amber threw a few more digs at Mr. Snowflake. They talked about podcasts, and Amber believes that if us haters actually sat with her one-on-one and had a conversation with her, we wouldn't leave as such haters. Oh, and additionally, anybody who has the word reactor in their channel has the right to talk shit about people. So Amber jokingly said she'll put a reaction in her channel so she can talk shit back. And she's going to take a break, but still will be doing the Tuesday members live shit. Anyway, I survived. My back hurts. Alright, I'm off.